Buddy, what is up? Ron Harris here, MD Online Editor. All you Americans, I hope you had a great and safe 4th of July. Didn't get any accidents and blow off any fingers, I hope. Happened when I was a kid a lot. All the Canadian friends, hope you had a great Canada Day last week. I haven't done an Ask Ron Live in a while. I want to get to some questions. I actually solicited on the MD Instagram for some questions. I only got a couple, but they were good ones. So when we're all done here, I'll see if you guys have asked me any better ones or any new ones. But I want to start with one that it's been on my mind a lot lately. It's a friend of mine, call him Goon. He's Chris Griffin. You may know him. He's done some shows for MD. Him and Mike Cox did Goon Cox Muscle Talk. Goon's been around for a few years here in the business. He says HGH, human growth hormone, overrated or worth it. So I never had an answer for that until fairly recently because I had dabbled. I got like pens a couple times, but I had never used GH consistently. It's expensive, and you know, I got a mortgage, I got kids. I don't like to spend a lot of money on drugs. I'm cheap like that. It's weird, I know. But this year I started February 17th of this year. I did start growth hormone consistently every day. 4 IUs. It's very, very generic. It's not Sizin, it's not Humatrope, it's none of that. It's a white box, it's a plain bottle, there's no labels, nothing. With a little powder in it. It's GH, but it's effective. Now, how do I know it's effective? So February 17th, so I've only been on it 4 IUs a day, February to March, March to April, April to May, May to June, less than 5 months, okay? If you've seen my pictures, if you follow me, and you should because we follow all these women with big booties, follow at Ron Harris Muscle on Instagram. You see I'm very, very lean right now. I'm probably, if I wanted to compete, and I really don't right now, that's a whole other ball of wax, I could compete in 4 to 5 weeks if I really dropped the hammer, if I really went totally strict on my diet, upped my cardio, I could be shredded. 4 weeks, 5 tops. I know because I've dieted many, many times. I know what the process is like and how long it takes me to lose fat. That being said, I'm leaner now at a morning weight of 215 and evening weight 219, 220 by the time I get a bunch of meals and food, you know, water in me and stuff. Leaner than I've ever been at this weight, and I've done it with much less cardio. People say, how much cardio do you do? It's hard to say. It's not consistent. I do a good amount of cardio because I train 3 days on, 1 day off typically. I do push-pull legs. And usually at the end of my cardio, at the end of my weight training, I will do 30 minutes of cardio. Sometimes I can't. Sometimes I have to get home quick to do an interview or an appointment somewhere or something, so I don't get to do my cardio. But I'd say I do cardio after weights. I don't do fasted cardio, but I do it after weights 3 to 5 times a week, 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes, 30 minutes max. I don't do more than 30. I do walk my dog every morning. That's about a half hour, and you know, it's stopping and starting. It's not steady pace cardio. And I haven't been doing HIIT cardio. I haven't been doing stat mill or anything like that like I would. Normally, what I'm saying is it would have taken me normally a lot stricter dieting because I've been having treats every now and then. If I want it, if I'm out somewhere, if there's a piece of cake or something, I'll eat it. I eat clean most of the time, but 2, 3, 4 times a week. If I want to have something, there's cookies there. I'll have a cookie. I'll have a couple cookies. If there's a pizza, I'll have a couple pieces of pizza. What I'm saying is the GH, the most dramatic effect I've seen for me personally as a guy who's 51 years old, my metabolism, I'm sure it's not what it used to be. I'll be 52 in September. It's helped me stay a lot leaner without doing anything special. And this is 4 IUs a day of generic. You know, you might say, well, that's probably only 2 IUs or something. I don't know. Hold on, I gotta shut this window, man. People keep mowing their lawn and doing all kinds of yard work. So I'm in the suburbs. And it's July, so everyone's doing shit to their houses, putting vinyl siding on and mowing their lawns. So that's one thing. I've noticed the GH definitely makes you leaner. So a lot of these pros and other competitors that I've known that use GH, they did have and they do have a huge advantage, especially if they're using larger amounts of GH. It's burning up the fat. Now, I've been taking it mostly at nighttime right before bed, and I've just eaten within the last like half hour, 45 minutes at that point, which I believe is ideal for the muscle building effects of GH because I don't need anything special to get leaner. I know how to get lean without any drugs if I want to. I used to be a natural bodybuilder for many years. I knew how to get lean. It's not freaking rocket science. Trust me, guys, it's not. But the GH has definitely kept me leaner. It's made me lose fat that I know I wouldn't have lost unless I had been dieting more strictly and doing more cardio. So for me, that's the biggest difference I've seen so far. Another thing, and this is going to sound ridiculous to some of you, and some of you will go, oh, wow. My shoulders have come back a little bit. I lost some shoulder size and fullness a lot, actually. If you look at the throwback pictures that I post all the time, and some people bitch I post too many throwbacks, well, too bad. I have severe arthritis in the shoulder. I need a full replacement here. I did have a decompression surgery back in 2011 that took me out of pain and got me into heavy training again for a couple more years. And I was able to get it back and competed in 2013 at a couple shows. I did Team Universe Masters and Masters Nationals, and my shoulders were back for that. But within a couple of years, it became bone on bone again. There's no cartilage left in there. I can't train heavy with shoulders anymore. I just can't. I can't do heavy chest pressing with dumbbells like I used to. I used to do shoulder presses with 130s, 140s. Now, this shoulder I could probably go pretty damn heavy. This one, it sucks. Dude, like a 5-pound dumbbell, it's ridiculous. I can go fairly heavy on a couple machines with this, a neutral grip. I can't go heavy on that grip anymore. The pain is just ridiculous. So I need a new shoulder. So something about the GH has allowed a little bit more volume to come back. They're still not what they used to be, but they're somewhere in between where they've been for the past few years and where they used to be. And I'm pretty happy about that. One thing that I was hoping has happened, and supposedly I've heard from a lot of people that GH takes a good 6 months on it to see any muscle building effects. So I don't know if this will happen or not. You know, everyone who knows me or has followed me or whatever, everyone knows my arms have always been my worst body part, always. Particularly my tricep, particularly my right tricep, the one that I tore. It was never that good in the first place. My biceps aren't bad; they're average, you know. But my triceps, they're terrible. The late Matt Porter, I had a conversation with him online a couple years before he passed away. Very young, very tragic. He was a really cool guy, Matt, and helped a lot of people without asking anything in return most of the time. You know, I had a conversation online with him because I wanted to know. I could tell he had stuff in his arms. His arms had, you know, SEO, site enhancement oil. And he's corrected me one time. He said, yeah, he admitted to that, but he said, you know what, it also helped me a lot because his arms used to suck. Matt Porter's arms back in the day, if you look at old pictures of him, his arms were as bad as mine, if not worse, back when he was younger. He said pharma GH helped him. And, you know, I'm not on pharma GH, but I'm convinced at least the GH that I have, it's not pharma for sure, it's generic, but it seems to be working. 4 I use has been getting me leaner, and I know that for a fact because I know my body very well. So I can say with great certainty it does have that effect. Now, is it worth it? That's something you guys need to yourself because, you know, GH is expensive. Let me hit that again. GH is expensive. The kits range from anywhere from $300 to, I've seen people pay $600 a kit, depending obviously if you're getting generic versus pharma grade, and the pens are expensive. It's very expensive. So using these small amounts is good for anti-aging purposes, fat loss, you know, 2 to 4 IUs. Most people that use it for adding muscle mass in conjunction with steroids and insulin and all that, they're using a lot more than 4. They're doing 8, 10 and up. A lot of them are not paying for it. A lot of them are just, you know, certain places where people go to train, everything's provided for them. You know, I'm talking about Kuwait and stuff. So money's not an issue in a case like that. And other people do have sponsors, people that just want to help them out and throw money at them. So for those people, it's not an issue. For everyone else, you do have to consider, is it worth it? Now, I can't say. I've never tried the higher amounts. I'm also 51 years old, so I'm not going to get a whole lot bigger no matter what I do. And that sounds, people say, oh, you're a defeatist. You're just giving up. I'm giving up. I mean, those of you who are young and, you know, you're still making gains, you think it's going to be like that forever. It's not, guys. It's going to stop at one point. At one point, you're going to be as big as you're going to get. You know, most people never hit that peak because they don't reach their full potential because they don't stay with it long enough. They don't stay training consistently and eating consistently and resting, and they don't take a ton of drugs for years and years. That's the only way you can really max out your genetic potential, is when you do all those things for years and years. And obviously, doing heavy amounts of drugs for years is a bad idea for your health and your longevity. But I'm just talking about maximizing your muscle mass I'm not talking about being healthy. There's nothing healthy about taking large amounts of steroids and growth hormone and insulin and all this to become bigger. There's nothing healthy about it all. So I can't confirm or deny if it's worth it for the muscle mass benefits. You know, maybe some people in the comments here are giving their experiences, and I'm going to get to those all after I get through these questions. So that is my take on GH. For me, I have seen a difference in less than 5 months in the body composition. I'm leaner at this body weight than I think I've ever been. I'm not on a lot of steroids, and that's a relative term, but 400 milligrams, usually I'm on 400 milligrams of Test a week, Cypionate, and 200 milligrams of Deca a week. I stay on that all the time. And, you know, people are going to say, I don't, it's my life, guys. You do what you want to do. I'll do what I want to do. I get blood work done. I got heart scans, CAT scans, ultrasounds. I keep a very good eye on that stuff because, believe me, I do not want to die. My dad passed away at 57, and I don't want to die at that age or even younger. Believe me, I want to live for a while. I want to see grandchildren. I don't want to die. Anyway, so I'm going to move on to the next question. That was from Goon. The other question came from Mike Cox. Big Mike Cox. You guys know Mike. Mike helps me out at all the shows. He lives in the Tampa area. He's a bodybuilder, big dude. That's why we call him Big Mike Cox. Love Mike and his wife, Mandy. You know, we always hang out when I go to the Florida shows. See him. He's going to be with me in Tampa in a couple weeks. How popular is DNP? It's very popular. It's very popular. Some of you guys love DNP. I have a real problem with DNP. I've never used it. I've never seen it. I have spoken to a lot of people who have used it. My buddy Goon was one of them. I was training with him. He was my training partner for like 4 years, I want to say. And I remember when he was on it, and there were times when he would miss workouts. Like, he would text me and say, dude, I can't make it. I feel awful. I feel like I'm going to puke and this and that. Physically, he felt so bad on DNP that he couldn't even go to the gym and train. That's another story. So I admit that I don't know much about DNP, so I'm going to give a little, this is from Net. DNP, which stands for 2,4-dinotrophanol, is a drug that's sold illegally as a weight loss supplement. Online retailers who sell DNP often target bodybuilders and extreme dieters and promise miracle results. It's actually it's not illegal. You can't you can get it online. I'm not encouraging you to. I'm just telling you it's in that legal gray area because it's currently used to make wood preservatives, dyes, explosives, and pesticides. So you could buy it legally for any of those if you're in any type of those industries, I guess. DNP is very dangerous, can be potentially lethal to even young, healthy adults. The drug can cause a rapid increase in both your metabolic rate, which is why people like it, and body temperature. This can lead to serious side effects such as organ failure. Organ failure, guys. It cooks you from the inside out. All questions and comments I will get to. DNP is extremely toxic and has a high potential for overdose. Ingestion of doses as low as 10 to 20 milligrams per kilogram of body weight, 4.5 to 9.1 milligrams per pound, can be fatal. A study showed that DNP's harmful effects are dependent on your individual tolerance. What's considered safe for one person could be deadly for somebody else. How are you supposed to know what that tolerance is, though? How would you know unless you take it and you overdose? The most common cause of death from taking DNP is hyperthermia, a dangerously elevated body temperature. I've heard it referred to, and this is pretty gruesome, as cooking from the inside out, which is, I believe, how microwaves cook meat, from the inside out, instead of the outside in, like, an oven or a grill. Hyperthermia can result in a breakdown of essential enzymes in your body. This can lead to cardiac arrest and coma. Additionally, hyperthermia can also lead to organ failure. We said that. DNP can also cause a number of side effects. So these aren't going to kill you, but can cause you to have nausea, vomiting, sweating, dizziness, headache, elevated heart rate. Yikes, dude, yikes. So why do people use DNP? To burn more fat. You can never be big enough. You can never be lean enough. We're extremist bodybuilders where we all have that mentality, more is better. And what I see with DNP in talking to a lot of people is they use it so that they can be a little more lax on their diets. They can have more cheat meals. I've heard of coaches. People have told me that they had coaches that put them on DNP just so they could have a good, disgusting cheat meal once or twice a week. Do you need DNP? People were getting ripped long before DNP. People are getting ripped now without it. There's no need for it. I don't understand You have all these other drugs. You have clenbuterol. Everybody uses clenbuterol. You have T3, you have the thyroid hormones. You still have things like ephedrine you can get legally. There's all kinds of, legal fat burning supplements. There's yohimbine, HCl. There's all kinds of things. I don't think many people in this world would have, it would be impossible for them to get really shredded. They might have to lose a lot of muscle. They might have to diet for 20, 30 weeks, but I believe anybody can get ripped. Can anybody get huge? No. There's a genetic limit on how big anybody can get. I mean, look at Big Ramy, for instance. He's huge, but has Big Ramy gotten much bigger in the 8 years? He's been a pro now for over 8 years. He's not much bigger than he was. He doesn't need to be, but I'm saying he's been training hard. He's been training to get bigger, but he hasn't gotten any bigger. And that's with all the food, all the drugs, supplements, whatever he needed to use to get bigger, he's been using. But he's at his limit, or he's very close to it. But the DNP thing, I just don't understand why anybody would use something with that much potential for mishap. It's a slight overdose can kill you. People aren't freaking math geniuses. Some people like me are pretty bad at it with math. I mean, we need calculators to do like basic addition and subtraction and multiplying fairly small numbers. So it's very easy to do misdose micrograms. What's it dosed in? Is it micrograms? Milligrams per kilogram? I don't even know. Like I said, I don't know much about it. I just know that it has that potential, and people have died from it. So why would you use it with that risk when you could just use these other things like Clan and T3, yohimbine, ephedra? There's so many other things available. You could just diet a little longer, do a little more cardio. I don't get it, but it is pretty widespread. I know a lot of people use it. It's a quick fix. It gets you lean very, very fast, but there is that risk. And I personally not a fan of a risk of that level where you can die, because I could shoot a bottle of tests right now. I'm not going to die, but I could take a little bit too much DNP, and if nobody gets me to the emergency room in time, bye-bye, Ron. Anyway, last question before I get to your questions that you've been submitting, I hope. It came from Eugenio, I don't know, E-U-G-E, I don't know. It's a Eugene, it's a Spanish version of Eugene. Eugenio Castiglia, I'm going to compete in October. I'm 46, so it'll be my first time. Any suggestions on posing, diet, or anything you recommend? If it's your first time, it would behoove you to get a coach, because it sounds like you need a lot of help. And competing, there's a lot that goes into it. You need to know how to diet, the posing. You can't just learn posing from me giving you some tips. There are videos, there are things. You could hire posing coaches like Kenny Wallach who'll work with you on FaceTime and things like that. But you really if you can afford a coach, I would get a coach. There's just too much. I would be here all day trying to explain to you, and I would need to be going back and forth with you, and yeah, there's a lot. It's not something you should enter into lightly, or else you'll end up being that guy or that girl on stage where everyone's like, what the F? They might have no tan. They might be like 30 pounds overweight from where they should be. They don't know how to hit any of the poses right. They're like trying to copy the other people on stage, looking at how they're posing. I've seen it many times, and I always feel bad for those people, because I'm like, first of all, go to a show. If you've never competed and you're doing a show, you should go to at least one show, if not a couple. And I would talk to people. You could probably even find through one of them a good coach, because it's something I would not want to see someone jump into a contest without knowing what they're doing, because you're up there in little tiny briefs, and you might not even know you need to have posing trunks. You might get up there in friggin' underoos or something. There's a lot that goes into it, guys. Okay, now I'm going to go to your questions. How's that? Oh boy, you can see up my nose and everything. Look at all those nose hairs. Okay, Jerry Iannuzzi, ballpark figure. What's the 4IU per day run price-wise? So I'm sponsored by a company. If you're on my IG at Ron Harris Muscle, you know what company it is. So I don't pay for it, but I believe it's about, so I think a kit from them is about of the generic is about 300. That's typically you'll pay $250 to $350 for a kit of generic. So a kit is a measurement. It's a box with 10 bottles. Each bottle is a little bit of powder, and when you put 1 ml of bacteriostatic water, that gives you 10 mLs, right? No, 10 IUs. I'm sorry, 10 IUs, not mLs. So that's 100. So that's 100 IUs. You're getting 100 IUs for, let's say, $300. I told you I was bad at math, right? So $300 for 100 IUs is $3 an IU. So if I was using 4 of those a day, 3 times 4 is 12. Yeah. So that would only run me $12 a day. Generic. Pharma is up to twice as much money. And this is 4 IUs. So if you're using more per day, the price goes up. Okay, that's my math. That's all. My brain hurts. You made me do too much math, Jerry. Let's see. Reeb, you're Raymond. How do you compare IGF L3 with HGH? It's a lot cheaper than HGH. You have to run only for 4 weeks. I know nothing about it, sir. I know I talk about drugs here, and I say all the time I'm not a drug expert. I know a little bit, mostly from my own personal experience and talking to people and doing a little bit of reading, not a lot. I'm not a drug expert, so I can't even answer that. Natalia Coelho, have I tried BPC 157? This is crazy powerful. No, thanks, Natalia. I've heard that's supposed to be great for injury healing. I have not tried it yet. I think I probably do need to look into that at this point, because I do need a shoulder replacement. I don't believe there's any, peptide or anything that's going to make it so I don't need a replacement. But I was contacted because, I did a show with Jose Raymond last week, and he needs a shoulder replacement now. And I just got a message on Facebook this morning from Troy Moore out in Vegas. I believe Troy's a pro. Anyway, he had his shoulder replaced, and he's saying everything's fine again, so you should do it. But I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. Really appreciate the info. Thank you. Balkan Knife. Hey, Ron, thanks for the info. Big support from Croatia. I have a Croatia shirt because my daughter went to a big music festival in Europe a few years back. 2 years ago. Ultra Europe. It was in Croatia. It was in a beach town called Split. Looks like it was a really cool place. Really beautiful. Jamie Ellis says, what does the insulin do? Okay, again, I'm just going to give you my basic ass understanding. Insulin, which I don't use. I've never used insulin. I shouldn't say never used. I'm sorry. I did use it for one winter. Got really fat because I was eating freaking like chocolate chip cookies with it after the workout. Milo said, dumbass, what were you thinking? You need just like pure sugar, no fat. It's a storage hormone. It helps you store more nutrients. It's great for people that can't gain weight. For people that don't really have a problem gaining weight, for people that gain fat easily, those people get pretty fat on insulin. I don't really have much of an opinion on it. I know if you miss time, you can go hypo. What's that sugar word I'm thinking? Hypo. If your sugar gets too low, I know, man. My brain's all over the place today. You can die from insulin. If you take a bunch of insulin, you don't have enough sugar in your system. If you don't eat enough, or you can go into one of those diabetic comas, basically. Hypoglycemia. But most people don't have, most people will have the carbs on hand. They know to always have extra carbs around. But yeah, insulin's a whole other thing, and I'm not an expert. Davenport Barbell. That's Scott Davenport. What are you on right now? You look jacked. So 200 milligrams of every third day or fourth day. Sometimes I wait till the fourth day. There's no real, I don't give a shit. Sometimes if I haven't done it that day, I'm like, I'll just wait another day. So 200 milligrams of Test-Sip, 100 milligrams of Deca, and every day I take 25 milligrams of Proviron. I'm strongly considering dropping the Proviron. Dr. T, we talked about it today on a show that's going to be out tomorrow, because the DHT, it's probably contributing to a little more hair thinning back here. And no man wants to lose his hair. I would look awful bald. Awful. I have the same bald spot that there's 4 brothers. There's 5 brothers in my family. We all have the same bald spot. We have different dads, but ironically, their dad had a bald spot there. My late father had a bald spot there. It's very, very common. It's male pattern baldness is you lose it from the crown, and a lot of times it starts receding up here. And yeah, my hair used to go down to about there. But like I said, I'm in my 50s now. I'd love to have a full crop of hair. Maybe I'll go get on some finasteride. Next question. Smack those thumbs, guys. Yeah. Freddie Erickson, Ron, problem with DMP is the half-life for like 5 days. And then he continues, Clen and T3 is not better than DNP. Asked Dr. Tony Huge. Well, Tony's very kamikaze in his approach, so I wouldn't ask Tony because I don't think health and survival is his top priority. It's results, results, results. Clen is great for your heart. It's bad for your heart, actually. I think you're being sarcastic, right? Clen is terrible for your heart if you take too much. Bodybuilding is great if you want guys to talk to you. Huh? I don't get that one. Natalia Coelho again, great advice. Go to a show to familiarize yourself with what you'll be going through. Yeah, it's very, very informative. It's a learning experience to go to your first show if you've never been to one, and you probably won't be able to go backstage. They don't let every random ass people walk backstage, but you'll see how it's run. You'll see the structure of the day, the judging in the morning with the various classes, and how the judges do the comparisons, and you'll see a sneak preview of what you'll be going through. Like, okay, this is you try to look at the class that you're probably going to be competing in. Look at that one with the most attention. Say if you're going to be doing novice, I don't know, like novice class physique or something, that would be your first show. Look at that class, and these are the level of guys I'm up against. Do I look like those guys? What are the poses they're hitting? What are they doing when they're not out front in the middle posing for the judges? What are they doing when they're off to the side? That's just one thing. You really should just familiarize yourself with the whole process of how these contests are run. So that way when you get there, you're not going to be overwhelmed. Like, oh no, what now? What do I do now? What's going to happen next? They're long days and nights. They're very long days and nights, but at least you'll have a very good idea of the framework, the structure of how these shows go. Last time you blasted Tren. I used a bottle of Tren I use one bottle, so it's 10 ml. Did I use two? So it comes in 100 milligrams per milliliter, and it's acetate. So you have to do it every other day. So I was doing, I still think I was doing it every third day because you can see, guys, I don't really put that much because it's not that important to me that I get it all down to a science because I'm not competing. Anyway, it was a couple months ago. It was probably, what are we in, July? I probably did a little trend. I think like the month of April, I used a bottle, maybe 2 bottles, because a bottle would only last you 3 weeks, if that. Yeah, a little less than 3 weeks if you did 1 ml every other day, and there's 10 ml in a bottle. So I think I used 2 bottles. It was probably like April going into early May. So that's the last time. And I like Tren a lot. It's very, very toxic. I like the way it makes me feel. It's a great steroid, but it's very dangerous. It's very toxic. So I won't use it that often. I'll use it 3 times a year for about a month, 5 weeks maybe. And even then, it's I'm doing 300 milligrams a week. You'll hear these guys say I do a gram a week or more, which is, I don't think anybody needs a gram of Tren a week if it's legit Tren. And I think most Tren is legit. It's cheap. It's a lot cheaper than something like Anavar Primo. So there's really not a huge need to fake it. Last time I left the top 5 at the O. Boy, I don't know. Nick Walker. That was a good one. Huh? Top 5 at the O. We've had a different Mr. Olympia every year now for the past 4 years. It was Rami. Year before that it was Brandon. Year before that it was Sean Roden. Year before that it was Phil Heath. Who will it be this year? There's these guys up at that level. I think if anyone comes in way better than we've ever seen them, and if like Rami's a little bit off, everybody's beatable. Everybody, even even Ronnie at the end, he had nerve damage and stuff. Jay, these guys were all amazing champions, but they were all beatable under the right circumstances. Phil got beat. I don't know, man. I don't know. When we're closer to the show, I'll definitely be talking more about that. Right now, we're so far. Get new shoulders like Dave P. I only need one. It took Dave out of pain, but Dave didn't go back to, he had no desire, I guess, to go back to heavy training and being, 5,000 pounds or whatever he weighed, 6,000 pounds. So I don't know. He probably just did it to get out of pain. I do have a lot of pain, but I've lived with pain in like my lower back for years and years. I can live with pain. It's not a big deal. If it got to the point where I couldn't sleep or something, obviously, or if I couldn't lift at all, yeah, then I'd be forced to address it. I'd be forced to do something about it. But it's manageable at this point. I don't take like Tylenol or Advil or any Percocets or anything. I don't take any painkillers, but it usually hurts only when I train the push day, chest, shoulders, and triceps. It'll hurt after that workout for about a day, day and a half. Like pretty, it's an ache. It's like a deep ache in there. But after that, it's manageable. You know, my range of motion is shit. You can look at that. That's how far back that goes. This one goes back a little further, a few degrees further. But this one, that's my external rotation. That's as far back as I can get it. It's not very far. Anyway, that's Tavares Phillips does over-the-counter test booster work for natty guys. A little bit. If you're younger, which I assume most of you guys are, most of the guys who ask these questions about test boosters are young guys, like they're in their late teens, early 20s. I'm like, dude, your body's pumping out so much testosterone right now. You don't need anything. Stay natty, you know, get plenty of rest, don't overtrain. Just try to avoid things like, get plenty of sleep. The things that would take your natural test down, like lack of sleep and overtraining. If you keep a good eye on your recovery, especially, you eat plenty of good food and you're a young dude, you don't need any test boosters. I mean, your body is a test booster at this point. And someday, you know, people ask me, how do test boosters compare to actual test? They don't. Test destroys any test booster. That's why everyone's on fucking steroids. Hypoglycemia, yeah, you're right. I couldn't think of the word. I get these brain farts a lot. Held for review. Oh boy. Yeah, Natalia, I gotta thank you. Obrigado. She's a monitor on these now. Thank you so much, Natalia. She is one of the greatest women's physique pros in the world. She's only 24. Are you only 24, Natalia? Unbelievable. You know, she turned pro at like 18. She's a phenom. Anyway, we did a Ask Ron live with Natalia a couple months back. You check it out here. It was really good. Took all your questions. She was very Nino Brown, opinions on test Anavar stack for beginners. Why Anavar? Beginner stack, test and D-ball. You could just do tests. I honestly think you do fine on, if you've never done steroids before, something like 400 milligrams of test for 8 to 12 weeks, you blow up. Would you make a little more gains on more? Adding in other drugs? Yeah, probably, but I think it's smart to start from a point down here, and then you can build on that over time, because as time goes by, you're going to need higher amounts. You're going to start stacking different things. If you start right out of the gate with high doses and 4 different compounds like some guys do, where do you go from there? Then you're going to be at a point where you're taking grams and grams of shit, and you're going to destroy your health. Test Anavar. Anavar is not a very, very strong steroid for. I'm assuming you're doing this to build muscle, because if you're using it to lose fat, you don't need steroids to lose fat. They'll help you keep the muscle while you burn fat, and the more muscle you have, the more calories you burn at rest. But test and D-ball has been the classic, or test and Deca. Those are the classic beginner cycles. People have been using those successfully for 50 years now. So, why reinvent the wheel? It's worked for millions and millions of people before you. It'll work for you. Okay, Tony Hughes was a joke. I didn't say that. You said that, Freddie. Oh, you were making a joke. Well, I don't know. I mean, some people really admire him, and they love the fact that he's outspoken. He lives his life the way he wants to, and he doesn't worry about laws or what society thinks or anything like that. So a lot of people, that's a rebellious, they like that kind of, that character. So, he's doing his thing. God bless him. He's been wildly successful. I won't go into it. That's a whole other ball of wax. Okay, so Jehan Amrolia, Ron, I started doing full body workout after 2 months break. I cut out the rest periods and sets. Am I right on track? I wouldn't do a full body workout unless you're like a raw beginner. If you're just starting out training, that's when like a full body workout, maybe 3 times a week, makes sense. Once you start getting a little stronger, a little bit more acclimated to the weights, you need to break it up. I wouldn't try. It's too much to do in one session. You're going to do chest, back, shoulders, arms, legs. It's too much. So full body is a good starting point. From then you could do like upper body one day, lower body another day. The split that I've been on for the past like 3 years now, I love it. It's just personal. A lot of people love this push-pull legs where you do chest, shoulder, triceps one day, back, biceps, rear delts, traps if you're gonna do traps. Next day, all the pulling, and legs is the third day. Then you take a day off and do it all over again. Or you can really put rest days in anywhere you want as long as you're just keeping that sequence. So you could do that, or you could do what they call the bro split, which is like a body part a day. Some guy will do like, so one day will be chest, and the next day they'll come do back, the next day legs and shoulders and arms. Or sometimes the way I did it for many, many years was I would always do legs on their own day, back was its own day, and then I would do chest with either biceps or triceps one day, and then later in the week I would do shoulders with the other one. So I would, in a given week I would do, maybe on Monday I would do chest and triceps, and then like on a Thursday or Friday later in the week I would do shoulders and biceps. And I used to just train Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and that worked very well for me. And especially because most of the time, a lot of the years I was doing that, I was natural. And natural, when you're natural, you do need more recovery time. Recovery is not as, it's not as enhanced. That's one thing steroids do very well for you, is they enhance your recovery. So you can train longer, more frequently, and your body will recover, and you won't overtrain as easily as if you didn't have that chemical assistance. Is this a natty channel? No. You also said Chanel. No, this is not a natty channel. Freddie Erickson again. Ron, what is your next show you're covering in person? Will you blast to cover the show? I won't blast, but I will probably tighten up my diet. I don't know. I'm pretty lean now. I don't know if I need to be any leaner. I'll be at the Chicago Pro. You know, I don't need, I'm not going to say that I'm going to blast through a show because, you know, I'm not up on stage. No one's going to see me. I don't walk around in a tank top at these shows. I'm always in like a collared short sleeve shirt or whatever. Sometimes long sleeve. But no, but I'll be at the Chicago Pro. MD is covering that. It's in Atlanta. That is July 24th. And then first weekend in August, I'll be at the Tampa Pro. We're covering that. That's going to be a great show too. They're both Tim Gardner shows. We're possibly covering that Texas show in August. Not 100% about that. But then, of course, we're going to be at, I'll be at the Arnold, Ohio. I'm hoping to be at the Arnold UK. Giles and the UK team over there, Lauren and Emma and everybody, they'll be at that. I hope to be there too because it's London, I think. I've never been to London. I've only been to Birmingham. And then, of course, the Olympia is the weekend after that. So that's 3 big weekends in a row. But yeah, I do tend to diet. I just don't like to be. I stay lean now anyway. I used to get pretty puffy looking. I would bulk up. I used to bulk up to about 240. Big fat cheeks. Little jelly roll around my belly. It wasn't good. It wasn't healthy. But I felt like, oh boy, I'm big. But it was uncomfortable. And I look at those pictures now and I'm like cringing because, geez. So I am vain. I don't want to look bad. So I like to look pretty good. But no, I'm not going to blast. I'm not going to do like grams and grams of stuff to go cover a show. It would be pretty stupid. I mean, pretty pointless. Not that it hasn't been done. Balkan Knife again. Have any opinion that Petar Klankir coming back next year competition? I'm familiar with him, but I don't know anything about his competitive plans or anything. Sorry. Scott Davenport again. What are your thoughts from Davenport Barbell? It is you, Scott, right? It's the same. I think that's the same avatar as you have on IG. What are your thoughts on Nandrolone only cycles? Mike Menser supposedly only did NPP. Robbie Robinson only Deca. Also, what do you think Arnold took? I have no idea what Arnold took. These people that make videos, and Derek does an awesome job. Derek with more plates, more dates. He destroys me on views and everything. So believe me, he's doing great. He's knows his audience. He knows what they want, and he's a very, very smart guy. But why was I even talking about him? Oh, because I think he does a lot of videos about what he thinks certain people took, especially celebrities. He speculates based on how they look, on what their cycle was. And that's fun. It's all fun and games. That's all it is. It's just speculation. You don't know. I have no idea what Arnold took. You have no idea what Arnold took. Arnold knows what he took, and that's probably him and a couple people like the late Franco Colombo, the people very close to him. Probably the only ones who really know what he took. Danny Padilla also, I think, said he only did Nandrolone Deca. I'm not a steroid expert, but I've talked to some people who are, And they all think it's terrible to do a Deca-only cycle. Terrible for various reasons that I can't even, I wish I could elaborate more. But, geez, I'm getting drunk. People get mad when I take a drink. I would use it with test. I wouldn't use it by itself. It has that, for one thing, sexual function. Everyone talks about Deca dick. That's why it's very common to take double the dose of test that you do Deca. So if you're doing 400 milligrams of Deca a week, you better be doing 800 milligrams of test to counteract the prolactin effects. See, I'm sorry. This is why I have like Dr. T every week, because he's the expert. That's why you guys can submit your questions to Ask Dr. T. But I don't think it's a good idea, Deca only. I don't know anybody who does Deca only. I know you're out there somewhere, guys. Someone will pipe in and say, I'm on Deca only, you a-hole, and I'm 340 ripped with 29-inch arms, and I bench press 1,200 pounds for 30 reps. Whatever, dude. Anyway, George Talamantes, would you mind sharing a typical cycle that you would take and how often? Well, I told you what I'm on all the time. So if I was going to do a little bit more, so if I blast a couple times a year, this is what I would do weekly. I would probably do 600 milligrams of test a week. Doesn't matter. The ester doesn't even matter. I would do 300 to 400 milligrams of tren. I would do 50 milligrams. 50? Yeah, I would do 50 milligrams a day of anavar, just for the fat burning properties and a little bit more stacking onto all the other stuff. I don't use anti-estrogens. I don't use things like Arimidex. I don't have any. I have high estrogen because my test levels are very high, because I'm putting extra test in my body. But I'm asymptomatic. I don't have the classic symptoms associated with very high estrogen, and my blood work and everything. There's nothing for me to worry about. So I don't take anti-estrogens because they do bad things, like they crush your good cholesterol, your HDL. They have I think they have bad effects on your heart. Again, guys, you can look it all up. It's all online. You can find all this out. But if you don't have to take an anti-estrogen, you shouldn't. It's basically what I've come to learn from Dr. Thomas O'Connor, especially. We did a whole show about it, geez, about 2 years ago, a year or two ago. And yeah, so that would be it. I would be doing test, tren, a little bit of something like Anavar. And I've been on Proviron. I was doing 50 milligrams a day. It's little tiny pills. I was doing that for probably about 6 months, and then once I discovered it was bad for hair thinning, I knocked that down to 25, and maybe I'm going to knock that out completely. It's good for increasing your free test. That's why I take it. Let's see, Davenport Barbell. Are you ever planning on going just TRT? Oh, you always keep Nandrolone in. At this point, I don't plan on just going TRT. If I saw something happening to my body that was bad, if I saw some negative results, something horrible would make me do it. But otherwise, why? Why do I need to get rid of the Deca? For what? Why? Because people get mad because they see someone and they don't want them on more than TRT, and I don't know why you care. I don't care if any of you, other than the fact that I love my fellow man, my humans out there, and I don't want you to die from steroid overdose, issues, organs failing and things like heart attacks. Other than that, I don't care what any you take. You can take as much drugs as you want. I don't give a shit. It's your life. If you're an adult, if you're 18 and over, it's your life. You could go drink a bottle of vodka, you can smoke 10 packs of cigarettes a day. You can do whatever the F you want, guys. It's your life. It's your body. You want to take chances, whatever. Do what you want. And I'm very conservative with what I do. I watch my health. I get blood work. I get all kinds of tests, echocardiograms, ultrasounds, calcium scores. I don't see any reason to stop doing what I'm doing. The Deca is good for my joints, helps lubricate my joints, and I have arthritis in all my joints pretty much because I've been training since 1983. So the Deca, maybe I could knock it down a little even lower dose and still get the benefits, but I'm only on 200 milligrams a week. I don't know why you guys care. I don't care what you do. It's like, I see in the comments section, like, why is he on all that shit? He's not a pro. He doesn't compete. And like I said, if I was unhealthy or if my health was being compromised, I would do something about it. Believe me, I don't want to die. I don't want to. I don't want to have a heart attack. I don't want to have kidney. I don't want any of that stuff. So I keep an eye on all that. Don't worry, guys. You worry about you. I'll worry about me, okay? We good? All right. Armin Nair. Hi, Ron. I'm 30, been lifting for 10 years, 12% body fat. What can you recommend me for my first cycle and dosage? Here we go with the first cycle again. Okay. 400 milligrams of test a week, 300 milligrams of Deca, or instead of the Deca, do 30 to 40 milligrams of D-ball a day. You're good. You'll be fine. You'll blow up. First cycle, everybody blows up. It's like freaking magic. It's never quite the same. You know how they say that about like a heroin, like the first high is the best one and you're chasing that for the rest of your life, and that's why they end up, addicted and die. But steroids are very similar. First cycle is usually when you get the most dramatic gains because it's such a brand new thing to your endocrine system, everything. It's like a shock to your system, and you respond so well the first time. It's never quite like that again. Let's see. Yo, Ron, how you doing, buddy? I'm doing great. David Norton, thank you. Freddie Erickson, Tony loves ladyboys. I don't know, well, whatever. I don't care. It's sexuality. You guys want to be straight, gay, bi, non-binary, whatever. It's your life, dude. I don't care what anybody does. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect you. So who cares? Let's see. Current test level. Oh wait, let's see. I'm way back. Oh geez, I missed a lot. Let me go back. Okay. Michael Hearn is my favorite natty bodybuilder. You're being sarcastic, MMA fan. Natalia Coelho, yes, I'm so honored and proud to be Muscle Development. We're very lucky to have you, Natalia. Obrigado. We're so glad, so happy you're part of it. Freddie Erickson, Michael Tren. Oh, now he says Michael Tren is his favorite natty bodybuilder. Guys love to make fun of Mike. Haha, he says. Nino Brown, how big are your arms? I'm guessing 19 inches. Nope. This one is 18. This one is 17 and a half. Sucks to be me, doesn't it? Oh, well. It's funny because people always talk about my legs, and I think because my legs, I have big legs, but they're not as big as you think they are. They have a very good outer sweep, it's probably mostly genetic. Because I know guys that have trained very long for years and years, they never get that sweep. Their thighs are just straight up and down. Where mine have that, they come out, they bow out in a sweep to the side like a circle. It's all genetic. So my thighs can be like 20. It's in shape. I bet they were never more than 27 inches. I've had them up to 30, a little over 30 when I was fatter, but a lot of that was fat. So measure fat. Biggest my arms ever were was fat and watery. I did have 19 on this one, and this one's always been a little smaller. This one was like 18 and 3/4. That's when I was like 245. Body fat was probably like 30%. I was disgusted. I was gross. It was terrible. So, when people measure their arms and they say I have a 20-inch arm, if they're very lean, a 20-inch arm, wow, dude. If you're a big fat shit, a 20-inch arm, who's impressed by that? Go to a beach, you'll see a bunch of fat, mostly women. Women seem to be fatter these days than men. But you'll see obese people with huge arms. It's just all fat. Let's see, duck eggs. Oh, does Mike eat duck eggs? Is that his thing? I don't know. Nino Brown, Davenport Ballot. Yeah, it's me, Scott. What up, Scott, with one T? Freddie Erickson, Arnold on his second pig valve. Oh yeah, he's had 2 heart surgeries. Yeah. I mean, heart disease is the leading killer of men in the United States. Most men in the United States have not used steroids, so whether you use steroids or not, you're always, as a man, you're at a much greater risk of heart disease and heart attacks. Lifestyle plays a big part, obviously. If you're morbidly obese, you'll probably have a heart attack and die before you're 50. If you take very good physical care of yourself, if you don't take steroids, unless you have bad genetics for heart disease, like every man in your family died of a heart attack, you could probably live to be like, 90. Never had a heart attack. Freddie, Tren is great for your sex drive. Yeah, it is. Which can be a good, obviously. As a man, do you really want a crazy high sex drive? Unless you're working as an actor in porn, what good does it do you? I don't know, maybe unless you have like 10 girlfriends and you spend all day maybe you don't work, you just go from apartment to apartment, house to house and banging all these different girlfriends of yours, maybe then a higher sex drive would come in handy. Otherwise, it really gets in the way, I found personally, of you trying to focus on your work or you're trying to focus on something and you're always thinking, you have images in your head and you're always horny, you're always getting hard. it's kind of a curse, I think, to have this crazy sex drive. Unless I said, like, it's going to pay off like that's your job, like you're a porn star. That's when having a great sex drive would be great. Other than that, for most guys, it's just going to get in the way of your life to have this hyper sexuality. It's hard for you to be faithful to a partner. You're tempted all the time. Yeah, man, I don't know. Sex drive, bad thing. Sex bad, okay. Geez, where are we at now? Favorite cycle? I don't really have a favorite cycle. I mean, everything has test. It always has to have test in it. Test and trend and like an oral. I personally have not seen much better results from any one cycle than any other cycle. If I had, I would have said, oh my God, this is the best cycle. This is what I'm going to do all the time now. Or every time I do a blast, I'm going to do this. I've never found anything that was that different because they're all derivatives of testosterone. They all have different properties and stuff, but if you're on 1,500 milligrams of these three things versus these other three things, it doesn't make a massive difference, I don't think. What is my current test level? Last time it tested, Freddie asked me, it was right around 2,000. I think it was like 1925 was my total. Can't remember what the free was, but the total was right under 2,000. And at that time that was a typical 400, 200, which is what I do most of the time. Damn, I was born in 86 as an MMA fan. Geez, so you were 1 year old when I graduated high school. Enjoy your youth, kid. Freddie again. Ron takes gear to look good. Yeah, what's wrong with that? Women inject their lips to look good. They put fillers in their face. They get Botox. Micro needling, all this shit, fake boobs, fake butt, liposuction, and no one says these women are horrible human beings. How dare they do all that to look good? It's okay for them to want to look good and feel good about themselves, but as a man, you're not supposed to want to look good. You're not supposed to feel good about yourself. You're not supposed to care about how you look. You're not even supposed to be happy as a man, honestly. You're not. Nobody cares. We're here to just work and build the world and keep things going. And, no one cares if we're happy or not. So I just do what I want to do. If I want to take steroids to look better, that's my deal. You can do it too, or you can not do it. It's up to you. I don't care. It's your life. Like I said, we all have our own decisions to make. We all have our own lives to live. It's your body. It's my body. I do me. I don't judge. You want to judge, that's on you. One of my older brothers who had to go, still goes to meetings for narcotics. He told me a phrase, says, people that judge don't matter. And people that judge don't matter, and people who matter don't judge, or something like that. I thought it was cool. I wish I remembered it better. Ron does Ron, you do you. Yeah. Good. Thanks, Freddie. Sufyan Karim, hi Ron, would you up your test or add Deca instead? I would up my test. I just talked to the show that we did today, me and Dr. Tuliados is going to be out tomorrow. He recommended, just because I had a question about finasteride and hair loss, he said, get rid of the Deca, just up your test. So I'm thinking about that. I do like the joint protective effects of the Deca, though. I don't want to. And to grow back this little thin patch of hair, I don't know. Is it worth the trade-off? I got some thinking to do, guys. It's not an easy decision. Ryan Hansen, real adult question. What's your take on lowering TRT dose and aging? I think you mean adding HCG and Clomid for fertility. I don't know anything about fertility. I don't care. Because I don't need to care. My kids are old. I have two kids, but they're 27 and almost 22 now, so. That's been covered a lot by Dr. O'Connor, who has his own channel, Anabolic Doc. I think he has guys come down on their test and they do protocols with HCG and Clomid to restore fertility. And he's got a tremendous success rate with steroid users, past steroid users, and current steroid users they decide, okay, I want to have kids now. Can you help me get my wife or my girlfriend, it's usually a wife, pregnant? And I think he's got like a 90% or greater success rate with these guys having children. Surprised they don't name all their boys Tom. Yeah, so I'm not qualified to talk more about that one. I'm certainly very far from a doctor. Do I think, Armin says, your opinion, Ron, do you think Phil or Kai will compete again this year? I think Phil will. It's looking, he's training hard. I think Phil will. I don't know. He went from second to third. I think he's going to give it one more shot. He wants to win. You know, last year, chest and back were a little bit downsized. Toward the end, because the judging were working him so hard, he was starting to have trouble again with his midsection, keeping it in. If he could fix those issues, you know, Phil, he might still have the goods in him to be Mr. Olympia again. I mean, the guy won 7 years in a row. He was dominant for many of those years. And a lot of people, you could even argue that the 2010, the year before his first win, when Jay's last win, that he should have beat Jay there too. Phil was amazing, and you know, he still has all those genetics. I don't, other than the hernia, I'm not aware of any, the hernia that he's had repaired twice. I'm not aware of any other injuries or issues. So I think Phil's going to come back. Kai, I would love to see Kai Green on the Olympia stage. Please, Kai, please. I'm not holding my breath. It's been 6 years now. If he hasn't come back now, I don't think he's coming back. You know, again, I hope, but no, I don't think so, personally. Let's see. Jehan, I'm Rolly again. Ron, I go to gym walking. I see many girls on the way out, but not look twice. Is it being focused? I'm 22. So you're saying you don't see many girls, or you see many girls on the way to the gym, but you don't look at them twice? Maybe they're not attractive. Maybe you only like a certain type and you don't see any of those. So you're asking me, is it being focused? Yeah, your English isn't very good, and I don't speak your language, unfortunately, whatever it is. I'm sorry. So I'm not even sure what you're asking me. You're focused because you're not looking at the girls, I guess. I don't know. I'm sorry. So ladies want money, not muscles. Not true. Not true. No, they do want money. Don't get me wrong. But it's probably always been this way. But I see the trend now more than ever is that women do want, they're attracted to tall, muscular, square-jawed guys, good-looking guys, alphas, you know, stallions, studs. But they do also want money and those things that, I don't have, if you're a young lady and you're a beautiful young lady, say you're 21 years old or something, you can't afford a mansion, you can't afford a yacht, you can't afford to fly all over the world, but there's some 35, 40, 50-year-old guy who will gladly, hey, come on my yacht. Hey, come hang out at my mansion. Hey, you want to come to Dubai? You want to come to Fiji? Let's go. So they do want that, but they want everything. So they'll usually, for their own personal gratification, they'll hook up with the really good-looking guys, even if the good-looking guys don't have any money at all. Trust me, I know plenty of guys who have, more women than they can handle, like a different woman for every day of the week. And these guys have nothing. They're broke. They don't have their own place. Some of them don't have cars. They have nothing, but they're good-looking guys. They're in good shape, and they got game. They're very, very confident. They have no fear around women. They know exactly how to, and then you have the opposite end of the spectrum, the simp, who's, puts women on a pedestal and is afraid of them and bends over backwards to buy them gifts and be nice and, Anyway, yeah, but women want everything. They don't want muscles. They don't want just muscles or just money. They like to have it all, and they can have it all. While they're young and beautiful, they can have these guys on the side, the guys that they hook up with, the good-looking young guys, the studs, the stallions, and then they can also have these other guys with money, throwing money at them and taking them on vacations and bringing them on yachts and inviting them to these cool parties and events, and yeah, they can have it all until their looks go, and then, let's hope they have something else, because then what do you got? Oh, boy, we're all over the place today, as usual. Trey Gaines, what's your opinion on Masteron? It's always been my go-to, but I feel like it's not as popular as Testosterone. Usually people use Masteron as a hardening agent. It's not something that gives you a lot of muscle gain. It's typically used in contest cutting cycles, or a lot of you who don't compete, just a cutting cycle if you're trying to get in good shape. So that's why it's not as popular, because there's other ways to get lean. We talked about them way earlier. Geez, what time is it? 2 o'clock already? So, yeah, you know, Masteron isn't as popular because it doesn't give you those results. Most people are using steroids to get bigger and stronger, and you'll get more bang for your buck out of Test and Anadrol and Deca, D-ball and Equipoise, things like that than you would Anavar, Masteron. So that's why it's not as popular. It's also more expensive usually. You know, Primo's very expensive, but people tend to try to get more for their money. So they're not gonna spend money on things that aren't gonna give as much results for the dollar. Masteron. MMA fan, Ron looks like a jacked Stipe Myokic. What the hell's that? Is that from a video game or something? I have no idea what that is. Stipe Myokic. I assume it must be from a video game. Maybe my son would know. He's a big gamer. BJ Galley, Jihan Amroli, you're looking twice at the boys though, right? Oh, so now, you know, guys, come on. Not cool. You know, I don't like to be homophobic at all, or any phobic. You know, we all like what we like. If you like chicks, if you like dudes, if you like them both, hopefully you don't like animals or something, that's not cool. You definitely, if you like children, you're a bad person. I'm sorry. Well, if you do anything about it, you're a bad person. Indeed account, 10 to 15 IU a day, you can see the difference. Oh yeah, I'm sure. You know, I don't have that much. They're not giving me that much where I could use 10 to 15. You know, the GH15 guy, he was a big advocate of 15 IUs a day. And for a lot of these pros now that are sponsored or they're getting all their stuff given to them with no limits, they can use 10 to 15 IU a day. If you want to use 15 IU a day of pharmaceutical GH, you better have some bucks, dude. That's a lot of money you're going to go through. You're going to blow a lot of money on your GH. Woof. Phil already said he was. You're late to the party. Sorry. I mean, what's that? Did Nick just do that video like 2 minutes ago? Yeah, I missed it. If he said that, I missed it. It was probably today, right? Probably while I was doing this video or out eating, getting sun. Can you take 2 IU of HGH on fat loss effects? Yeah, that's what a lot of people do is they'll wake up, take 2 to 4 IU, so 2, 3, 4, something like that, on an empty stomach. They'll wait 30 minutes and then have their breakfast or do their or maybe they'll do their cardio first if they're doing fasted cardio, and then they'll eat. So that's how most people who want the fat loss benefits, that's pretty much how they all do it, is first thing in the morning, empty stomach, and they wait 30 minutes to eat. And you only need like 2 to 4 IUs to see the fat loss results. You don't need a lot for that. Dr. O'Connor, awesome, thank you. I'll check them out. You look great too. Shoulders like a shelf. I don't know what that. Fred Erickson, bump your chest. I think the max test level is 2,200. No, I've seen lab results on guys where the test was, I want to say like 5,000, 10,000. I don't even know if it measures. It probably doesn't even measure past a certain point. But if you're taking, and there are guys who have taken like 3, 4, 5 grams of test a week, I'm sure their test levels have to be like something you can't even measure, way up there somewhere. Nino Brown, what's your experience with growth hormone? When this is over, watch it from the beginning. I started this whole video off letting you know about that. What's your test dose when you're off? Well, like I said, I'm never off. I don't say I'm on TRT because that would only be through a doctor, really, and it would only be 100 to 200 milligrams a week of tests, and I'm on 400, and at times I do bump that up to 600 a couple times, probably 3 times a year I do that. What's your experience growth hormone? What's your test dose when you're off? Rolly will win the Mr. O. You know, he came damn close in 2018 when, was it 2018, right? The year that Roden won, and Phil was second, and Rolly was third. A lot of people had Rolly in second, and there were a lot of people thought he was going to win, especially if, you know, because he has a very different type of physique than Sean Roden. Much thicker, a lot more bubbly and round, just massive. And he was in great shape that year, Rolly. Rolly looked incredible at 2018 Olympia, so arguments could be made that he could have won that show. So can he win the Olympia? Yeah. If Rolly comes in crazy condition this year, yeah, Rolly's not missing anything. He just needs real crisp details, separation. If he comes in like that, as he is with that beautiful round bubbly shape, yeah, Rolly's certainly a potential Mr. Olympia, of course. Ryan Henson, take it from a former bouncer for years. Muscle's the only variable between two guys, and muscular guys pulling the female. Yeah, especially in a club or a bar like that. I mean, that's just, you're purely judging each other on physical attraction, what's in front of you. You You're not seeing some guy's boat or his, his Mercedes or whatever. You're not seeing his wealth. Maybe he's got some nice jewelry or something. I don't know, a nice watch. I don't know, but it could be a fake. Yeah, in a club like that, I've seen it's typically taller, not necessarily bodybuilder big dudes, but guys in good shape. Taller guys usually do pretty well. Good looking. The magic formula is tall, good looking, some muscles. You don't certainly have to be a bodybuilder size, and very, very confident. And they've got game. They know how to talk to women where they don't like grovel at their feet like a beggar. They kind of they're aloof. They're kind of, I don't know. There's this whole like pickup artists industry out there now. There's tons of videos and they sell courses and all kinds of shit. Say this one thing and women will follow. 3 things to never say to a woman, or do this and women will be all over you. Whatever. It's a whole other. Freddie Erickson again. Dr. Tony Huge is going to take Big Lenny to Thailand. Big Lenny, oh boy. Waiting for those videos. Free range chicks, says Max Matthews. Freddie Erickson again. Mickey D's now has no gender toys in the Happy Meals. No, I knew that. Come on, we knew that was coming. MMA fan. Stipe. Oh, okay. Stipe Miocic is top UFC heavyweight fighter. LOL. Yeah, I don't follow well. The last time I followed UFC was probably 10, 15 years ago. It's been a long time. Jihad Amroli, just at the time of going to the gym, I am in angry and serious mood. Is it normal? Yeah, I mean, we all have to do what we need to do psychologically, emotionally, to get into the right zone to be able to train. For some people, it's like a place of anger, a place of rage. Other people need to get very calm. But yeah, it's to be very focused on what you're doing. And like I said, you shouldn't be. Some guys can have beautiful women around the gym and that fires them up. For others, it's just a distraction. Like they literally can't focus. They'll be trying to do their set and they see some girl in yoga pants in the mirror and they'll go, and it takes them completely off their focus. And you do need to be focused, especially during your set. You should be really focusing on what you're doing, especially if you're doing stuff like squats and deadlifts, man. You don't want to be dropping a weight or something. So yeah, being focused is not a bad thing, especially in the gym. Jason Kojak, what's the longest I can be on a test? Sorry for a dumb question. Well, once you've destroyed your body's ability to manufacture testosterone, like I have, you'll have to be on test for the rest of your life. It's replacement. Your body's never going to make it again at some point. It's different for everybody, but at some point, if you take steroids long enough, you're going to need to be on at least a little bit of test all the time, or else you'll be hating life. You'll be hypogonadal. You'll have no sex drive. You'll be depressed. You'll be losing muscle mass, gaining fat. You'll be tired. It's a shitty way to live. So, but how long can you stay on a cycle? That's up to you. It's a risk thing. The longer you're on, the greater your risk of any kind of side effects, and the more you use. So there's no clear-cut answer to that. Oh God, we got to get going on this. Body time. What supplements would you take to lower fasting blood glucose when it's around 100? That's a question for the doctor. Go to Ask Dr. T. Videos on this channel. Tomorrow that's going to post tomorrow morning. Leave it in there and we'll get to it the next one, because that's a doctor question. That's not from me. Oh wait, it's an only men's gym? God, I don't know. All right, man, I'm all done with that. Jehan, I'm sorry, I'm all done with this. We got to move on. Are we done yet? Oh, there's still more. This is the last one, then I'm going to go. Body time ALO. Can 3 IU of HGH a day give you headaches? I've never heard that. Maybe, but I've never heard of that. I would look into something else you're taking or doing, or some people just get headaches. It isn't always from a particular drug or supplement or anything. Anyway, guys, it's been a long one. Appreciate you guys watching. Please subscribe to the channel, share the videos, like the videos, do a thumbs up. Please don't give me any thumbs down. Comments if you want to leave some questions for the next one. I will get to them next time. Leave them in the comments below and I'll do another one of these probably next week. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Appreciate your viewership. Talk to you later.